Okay, so I've talked in the past about planning a trip and making sure the path you have to your life, living the life you want to now and in the future, the cash flow to do that now and in the future, and akin that to a trip. But but there's actually another way that is easy to make financial decisions to make sure that this trip or living the life you want now in the future is going to make it the highest probability of you achieving. And there's a proprietary process that I created over 30 years ago called the wealth building formula. And the wealth building formula allows you to see where you are now, but also to constantly make the 100% correct financial decisions for you. So what is the wealth building formula? It's sort of like a recipe, right? For any people who like to cook out there, and I do, you want to know there's a start, where you are now with the ingredients, how do you make the decisions about how to make what you're doing, what's the time frame, and then what do you want it to look like at the end. And again, it's like a trip. Where do I want to go? Where's my starting point? What's the route along the way that I want to travel? And then how do I know I'm there? But what decisions do you make along the way, whether it's in the recipe or the trip, to make sure you're always making the right decision for the right outcome? Well, in the wealth building formula, it's okay, there's a starting point with how much wealth you need. And then basically, and that's based upon how much cash flow you need. What kind of time frame, when do you want to be able to either live the life you want now or quit your job? And then finally, what percent return do you need from your portfolio to make sure it's all going to work? Now, the thing is, if you're not saving enough, well, you realize you're not going to have the cash flow. So you could always look at the formula and say, well, if I'm not doing that part of it, I'm doing something else. Well, then am I still going to get there, right? So what do I mean by that? Well, let's say you want to buy a house. There's a certain house you want to buy. How much mortgage you want to have on it? If you're going to have more or less mortgage, how does that affect you either getting to your financial goals or not? If you're buying an insurance policy, how's that affect it? If you're taking out debt, if you decide to have other types of spending, a renovation of your house, how's that going to affect your trip in finances? The wealth building formula will show you that very clearly. So you want to, like a good recipe or planning a really great trip to live the life you want now in the future, is to have a plan. And in that, learn to use something like the wealth building formula to make sure along the way you're enjoying the life you want to lead, but you get there, you get to where you want to live that life forever when you decide to retire.